Let's make a necklace. Hey, Mom! We're gonna do this one today. As you can see, I have a specific sketchbook that I use to kind of put down jewelry ideas. And this day I had these cool piece buttons that I wanted to use, and I wanted to make a rainbow bracelet to match a specific outfit. And when you make your own jewelry, you can always just whip something up. I probably made this in about a half an hour. The things I use besides the piece buttons is just these cheap beads that probably everyone has, especially now for holidays and stuff like that. They're very, very cheap, plastic. I do have a beading needle that I use. That's why I was able to thread it so easily just right now. I used faux leather for the string, and I use fishing line as my wire because I've had so many jewelry made strings that broke over time, and I'm kind of over that. So I just use fishing line, and that lasts forever. You can look in the ocean and see that, because I always see like fishing line at beaches and stuff. But anyway, if you didn't notice, one way that I keep my fishing line from unraveling is I take a water bottle and I cut the plastic in that circle, and I use that just to keep it contained. I don't know if you noticed that at the beginning, but I'm here to give you tips. So all I'm doing here is I threaded the faux leather through the button, and I made a knot in the fishing line, and I'm just sewing it to the end, and I'm just trying to secure it. I can't give you like a real method because there is no method. Here's another thing that I do. I use a clipboard and a paper clip to keep my wire in place. I do have like official jewelry devices, I guess. But this is one of the easiest and quickest ways to make jewelry, and you could, sit in front of the TV and do it, and there's not like a whole bunch of drama. It's just you have your clipboard, and if you noticed, I put the beads in little paint containers that you use to put your paint in if you're doing like watercolors or something like that. So I use that to put all my little beads in, and then I use the clipboard, and I can really make this jewelry anywhere. So the first thing that I'm doing is taking a small bead, and the way that you're doing kind of like figure eights around the string. So I'm going like around the first string, through the hole, around the second string, through the hole, and you just keep on doing like a figure eight like that, and you keep going in the holes. So I started with a small bead, and then I'm using 2 small beads here, and all that's doing is filling in that little teeny like V area where the string ends before I get to the width of the larger beads that I'm going to be using for most of the bracelet. So you see there, I'm just pulling it, and then I go under, and then I thread the bead, and then I go around the second one and go under, I thread the bead, and then I go pull it, and go under again. And that's really, honestly, that's the process. That's the figure eight. You can make a lot of jewelries doing this. Like I said, as long as you have like a clipboard or something to keep your foundation strings, the faux leather I'm using, to keep that nice and taut like this, it'll stay in place. And that's really all to making this bracelet. I tried to just vary it because, I had an idea. I had an idea of what I was doing. Then I'll show you how to finish it off. Some additional tips are, if you notice, there's 2 fishing lines, right? So I am pulling each separate line to make sure both of them are staying pretty taut. And that's just so that at the end, the bracelet looks really neat, and I don't have like little teeny areas where it kind of buckled or something and it's like popping up a little bit. So I'm just trying to keep it nice and tight going around those kind of leather things. Another thing I do is I use the skewer You can use like a toothpick or something. If you do have like little areas where it's not completely tight and you see it later on, you can use that before you finish your bracelet to kind of like, you know, pull it and tighten it up. Because if it's not tight, it's not right. Those beads are they're gonna move around and it's gonna look kind of crappy. Another thing is that before you start the process, you want to measure like your wrist circumference. Also, it's usually about 6.5 inches, but you want to give yourself extra because you're going to be tying knots at the end. I didn't do that, and you'll see what I have to do at the end to try to fix that problem. But you'll see at the end here, I did the same thing where I ramped it down to a V again, so it's like 2 small and then 1 small, and then I'm just kind of putting it around my wrist, and I'm very happy with myself thinking that I made it right and it fits. But of course I'm not thinking that I have to tie these knots, but no problem. Like I saw here, it was not going to be able to fit the button because you're making a hole there so that the button can fit through it. All I did here, you can see there's a lot extra now. I just cut another piece and I tied a knot and kind of looped it inside. I basically knotted it inside, and you can't really tell. It just looks like it's supposed to be that way. But you know, and now everyone on YouTube knows too that I messed up. So that's the bracelet. It was just something I wanted to put together, just a little boho chic. Look at me, I'm a hippie 50 years after the fact. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It's probably like a couple bucks, depending what you have around the house. You might be able to do it for free. Just like, you know, steal someone's fishing line and a couple buttons, pop them off your jacket or something, and you're good to go. And just find some beads on the floor or something. I mean, in my house, there's beads on the floor. Yeah, so that's my rainbow piece hippie bracelet. And if you liked it, please give us a like and share the video. I will do some more jewelry in the future. Probably harder jewelry, but this is really nice. Sometimes it's nice to just whip something up real quick. Sometimes it's just really cool to like do a craft that costs $0 or very, very cheap, under $5, and you get it finished in like a half an hour, compared to like some quilts that I'm looking at that are going to take me months to do. Thanks for watching till the end, and remember, if we can do it, so can you. Bye.